Hi folks, welcome to another D French guitar lesson. Today we're going to look at the CAGED system, and that's what I was just using here to play those arpeggios in different keys. The CAGED system is used to play notes up and down the guitar fretboard by memorizing fingering positions for those specific chords in the first or open position. We're going to be using the chords C, A, G, E, and D. So what we're going to do is we're going to take those chord shapes in the open position and we're going to move them up and down the fretboard to help you get familiar with where these different chord structures fit in. It's just a good way to kind of demystify the fretboard as you see it right now. Right now it just looks like a combination of 6 strings and a bunch of frets with no real rhyme or reason, no real consistency. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the C, which is the C in CAGED. So this is our C major chord in the open position. Everybody knows this. So what we're going to do, and then we're going to take the A in CAGED, and this is our open A major chord. Then we're going to take the G position, or G shape, which is right here. That's the G in CAGED. And then our E, and then D. Do is we're going to take these shapes and we're going to start on different root notes, or the first note of the chord, to move it up the fretboard. So the first thing we're going to look at is the C major. Now everybody knows how to play that C in the open position, but if we take our A shape and we replace the nut here with our first finger, and we move that up here to the 3rd fret, this is also a C major with the A shape. So here's our root note C. Play that as a C major. Okay, the next shape is G, C, A, G. So we know our G shape here, we're going to move that up here. And this is not a common chord shape that people use on a regular basis. This is just kind of help you see where the C fits in on the fretboard. So we're going to start here on the 8th fret. This is our root note C. And we're going to play that G shape. It's kind of a tricky one. It's a little bit awkward. It's not something that you're going to use. And that's our C major with the G chord shape. Here's your 1, 2, 3 fingers. Okay, the next one is a very common bar chord with the E major shape. We're going to move that up here. We're going to share the same root note as the G shape. It's going to be here on C. We're just going to play that E major shape in a bar chord, and that's a C major now. Okay, the next one's a little tricky too. It's not something you use a lot. We're going to use the root note here on the 4th string. This is a C. And we're going to play that D shape. And that gives us a C major up here in the D shape. So again, we're starting here with the C. So again, we're starting with our open position. The next chord is going to be an A major. Okay, this is our A major in the open position. Now after A comes G. We're going to find our root note here on the 6th string, 5th fret. And we're going to play that G shape. This is also an A major. Again, a little awkward, not something you would use while performing or playing a song. But it just kind of gives you an idea of where that A falls up here on the 5th fret. Okay, the next is our E shape bar chord. Again, we're sharing the same root note here on the 5th fret. And there's our A major. Okay. After that, we're going to find our A here on the 4th string, and we're going to play the D shape. And again, that's another kind of awkward one. It's not something you're going to use probably a lot in performing. You might use the triad here when you're doing voicings. If you have other players or you have a bass player that can cover that root, you might play that. But again, it's not a very common chord to play with the root note. And after the D, we start over with the C. Here's our C shape in the key of A, with our root note here on the 5th string. And then we can go all the way starting over at the octave. This is just taking the 12th fret, which is a full octave. Okay, so again, we're starting with A. Then we have our G shape A on the 5th fret. E shape on the 5th fret. D shape on the 7th fret. And then C shape on the 12th fret. And then we can go up here to the 12th fret, starting again with the A major. Okay, and you'll find different graphics on this video to kind of help explain it or visualize it. Okay, after the A is our G. So here we have a G major in the open position. It's always kind of a nice chord to play because you can hit all the strings. It's nice and full. You have a lot of open strings that ring out and make it a nice, pleasant sounding chord. Okay, so we have our G. After G comes E, which is our E shape here on the 3rd fret. Okay, after E comes D. Here's our D shape. After D, we're starting again with C here on the 10th fret, 5th string. Then we have our A shape. And then again, we can go all the way up here to the 15th fret and start again with our original shape, just an octave higher. So we're starting on G, so far we have our C, A, and G going up and down the fretboard. Next is our E major here in the open position. So after E comes D. That's a little bit tricky, it's a little bit of a reach. After D, we're starting back at C here on the 7th fret. After C comes A. Sharing the same root here on the 5th string. Okay, and after A comes G. Okay, and then after G comes E. And now we've got a full octave. So we start down here on the E major. We have our D shape. Then we have our C shape. We have our A shape. Then we have our G shape. Then we start over again. Okay. And then our last one is going to be a D major here in the open position. So we have a D shape here. After D, we're starting back at C. Here's your C shape on the 5th fret, 5th string. We share the same root note. We go to our A shape. And after the A comes G, which is up here on the 10th fret. And we're going to share that same root note for the E shape up here on the 10th fret. And then we can go all the way back up here and we can start over the octave higher. It's a little bit tricky when we get up here, but so again, we're starting with the D. C shape D on the 5th fret, A shape, 5th fret, G shape, 10th fret, and then E shape. Then we're going back to the D, which gets a little bit tricky up here in these higher registers, but you could always do it as a triad, and that gives you kind of like a high-end version of the D. Okay, so again, the CAGED system is just a way to find different notes on the fretboard. So for example, that arpeggio I was playing earlier is in the key of A major, and we're starting here on the G shape form of the A, and we're just playing the arpeggio of it. So I'm starting here with the G. And I go all the way up here. And it's just a good way to find different voicings, to find different inversions. All of these are starting with the root note, which means you're starting with the first note of the chord. But you can use these to play different versions of the chord. So for example, if I'm playing a song in the key of A, I think that one guitar guitar player has this part covered, well, I can come up here and play this version of the A. Get these higher notes in there. Even if I want to go higher, I can play these notes and this covers the same chord. Or I can go up here and play this version. What it does is it's breaking down the fretboard so you don't look at it as a big mess of frets and strings and you start to see patterns emerging from it. Alright, so again, let's just review the C, A, G, E, D. Again, we'll do a C major, in open position, C major with the A shape, okay, C major with the G shape, C major with the E shape, and C major with the D shape. And we can go all the way up here an octave. Play it up here on the 15th fret. Do the A major, open position, A major G shape, A major E shape, A major D shape, A major C shape, A major, an octave higher. G major, open, bar chord, G major, E shape, G major, D shape, G major, C shape, G major, A shape, and we go all the way up here an octave, and that covers that same shape just up here on the 12th fret. And again, this is not a chord shape you're going to use very often at all. You might use versions of it up here, or you might use the bottom end. Use the whole chord. It's just too awkward. It's kind of hard to get to really quickly. After G, we have E, open, E in the D shape, E in the C shape, E in the A shape, E in the G shape, and then an octave higher, E. Just taking the same shape and move it up here to the 12th fret. Last one is our D major, open, D major in a C shape, D major in the A shape, D major in the G shape, D major in the E shape, and then we can go all the way up here another octave. That's a little hard to reach. And there you got your D major starting at the one octave above. Okay, so if you'd like more information on this, go to the link below. You can get a book, you can get extra exercises, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.